Hello and welcome to the Mind Your Mind podcast. Mind Your Mind podcast on mindfulness, spirituality, life, mind, universe, everything and nothing at all. As always, I'm here with Henna Malik. Hi Henna, how are you?
Hi Ozan, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine too. It's very good to see you. It's been a long time actually since our last episode, so I'm very excited to get back to speed with everything we will have to talk about.
Exactly. I'm excited too. And yes, it's been a long time that we are coming together again. And I'm especially excited for this episode because this is one area which I personally find more challenging in my life. So, yes, it's going to be a learning experience both ways.
What are we going to talk about today?
So, we are going to talk about living in the present.
The
Which,
present moment.
yes, the present moment.
One of my favorite topics actually,
And why is it your favorite?
because it's the life in its purest form, literally our only experience of life. And we are trying to experience this without realizing that we don't have any other choice than experiencing it. So this is overtalk. But I feel
Yeah.
like some people are just missing the point when we are talking about the present moment because we make it complicated with our understanding of time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is why I want to start actually with the very fundamentals of time today. Like what time is, how does time work, what is the present moment, how is it different than past future, and then go into the details about the practicality of this whole topic. Do you agree?
Sure.
Should we jump in?
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited.
All right, then let's start with the absolute fundamentals about the present moment and time. The question is this: what is time? What is time? This is a crucial question because this shapes our perception of the present moment itself. Is it a line? Is it a matrix? Is it a spiral? How does time look like? Now, our understanding of time as humans, we have language and we have created this language, yet it also shapes us in a way. When we were very little kids, we are learning how we are going to form sentences and communicate. And through that, we start to understand time as past, present, future. Advanced, of course, linguistic approach includes also past perfect, present perfect, whatever it is. I'm not I'm not an English speaker. This was a pain for me to learn. It does change our understanding of how the time works. This is a very common understanding of time, that it is linear. There is past, it happened. There's present, what we are doing right now. I'm talking to Henna. And then there's the future. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. But is it the reality? Is time linear? And that's the question. We have to travel to somewhere else in the universe. Because if you check it actually for universe, nothing experiences time the same. No two observers experiences time the same. Each particle in the universe experiences time in a different frame, at different speeds, and they are at different points of time. And this has been proven by the general relativity theory by Einstein, but of course, it's been proven into instances where there are experiments made in this topic. What they realized from Einstein's relativity theory is that what is constant is the speed of light. And you generally assume the light moves in a linear way, everything is straightforward. Guess what? It's not. Light doesn't move in a linear way and it's constant. And what does it tell us? It tells us that the space-time is bended. This is a big thing because space-time bending means the gravity of big masses actually bend the space-time. It affects time, everything else around it, and also for itself. And it's also affected by the time it creates and other objects create as well. There's a very known phenomena that if you go to, let's say you travel to another galaxy tomorrow, Hannah, and you are in a planet that has much more mass or affected by much bigger mass than our galaxy right now, then that would bend the space-time around it. and you come back 1 week later, in your time, probably it would have been centuries in the earth. What happened to the present moment, and what happened to the past and present and future? Because then when you come back, my future right now is your past. And how does this work? This relativity messes everything up and proves the point that the time is not linear, at least not for the universe. It's not existent for the universe. Even you and me right now, you're all the way there in India. I am in Budapest, Hungary. We are experiencing the time in a different way. 1 second is different for me than it is for you. Of course, we don't realize this because it's a very small frame. But once, if you are in a place which is affected more differently by the space-time, then we would see this difference. Now,
Sure.
why I wanted to talk about this is like, this is a proof that universe doesn't have time as we understand it. It has one time concept, which is not linear, that contains everything. Your timeline and my timeline, that is completely different, but it is banded. All objects, all particles experiencing time has a combined time that involves everything, absolute time of the universe, and it's completely different than what we experience. Therefore, the universe as one time contains everything. It is the human perception that is limited to this time frame, what we call the present moment. Now, what is the present moment? Present moment is basically all we experience right now. Is that right? You can't experience past right now. You can't go to past right now in your mind, can you? You have memories, you can bring it back, but it is not the reality. It is not the real past. You collected something and recorded in your brain and through your body senses, right? And now you are remembering it. And of course, it's distorted because it's not the reality. Only reality we experience right now is the present moment. In fact, only thing that connects you to life right now is the present moment. How do you experience time? How do you experience life at all? If I ask you a very, very simple question, you are born. Boom. How do you know that you're born? Are you thinking, is that why? You have the senses. You are seeing, you are hearing, you are touching, you are smelling, you are tasting. This is your entire experience of time, isn't it?
Right.
Therefore, there is no past in reality for you right now. There is no future. Past is only your previous recorded senses that you are remembering right now. Future is nothing more than creation. In fact, it is creation that is highly limited to your imagination. What I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have breakfast, whatever. I know this because I have had a past. I did that for a long time. And now I'm projecting, okay, tomorrow sun will come up and I will rise. How do I know the sun will come up?
Because you have memorized it. It's like it's a routine that you have kind of memorized. And I think you make a very interesting point there. And I remember reading it in your book that time flows differently for two different things, which are experiencing different gravity. And this means nowhere in the universe time is experienced the same way. And that's absolutely captivating to know that. And this destroys the classical human approach of time, which states that it is linear. This is something that I really found fascinating while I was reading your book too, and so well explained right now. I'm sure a lot of misconceptions around what present is, what past is, what how time flows are now clear, even among the listeners who are listening to us right now. And it's so interesting that we use time to remember our memories. We use time to project the past that we had, and we project it into our future. So ultimately, what we mostly end up doing is, we mostly end up shaping the future as only a projection of the past. And
Exactly.
but the reality is that there is no past, and there's no future. All
You
we
only
have,
have presence.
yes, all we have is the present moment, and that is our life. In fact, The most common term, time management, the most used term, or I would say the most misused term, is actually nothing but life management.
Exactly.
I think being aware of where you are right now, feeling everything with your all your senses, makes you live to your fullest. And until and unless you are living to your fullest, you're not really living.
Exactly. Your whole life is right now is what you sense. Be present, be present. We say all the time, be present. What is be present? Basically, just focus on the senses. Focus around what's going on. But even the whole term of, the mindfulness that came, like, what is mindfulness? Basically being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your life, not to be dragged around.
I understand that it can be very tempting to live my life like a prequel. Like, for instance, there's a very popular belief that my best is yet to come. This is a very beautiful thought, very well intentioned thought that we all almost all of us nurture. Our best is yet to come. And it's very tempting because uh, to live as if you're setting up for your own story is very tempting. All the time we are thinking about, once this happens, I'll have a better life. So it's like, once I get thinner, or once I graduate school, or once I get into a real relationship, it's all about once this happens, once. And then finally, you say that once this happened, I begin to live. And everything you do up till then is something that you are unintentionally disregarding. So
Exactly.
so what you actually mean is that your life right now is some kind of irrelevant half life, some unimportant forward to the book that you can easily skip. Don't
Exactly.
don't do this. I mean, we should not do this. And this is something that I learned personally very recently, while I was just pondering over this thought. This is actually inhibiting us from inhabiting our life completely, to sink fully into the existence, to sink fully into what our present has to offer us. We are conveniently choosing to miss all this. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are always disregarding the present moment, what all the life we have. And also, some people think about the past so much. They are stuck in the past. They are thinking about the past. And some people think about the future so much. And as you said, we live like a prequel to something. And it is just encoded in our brains since we were kids. We are like, we are in the school, now we will graduate, we will do that. So we are working for that. We are dreaming of that. We are constantly designing our lives. Then we are thinking about the retirement, and then we are always saying like, okay, I'm gonna be fine when I get that role. I'm gonna be fine when I buy the house. I'm gonna be fine when I got my son or daughter married. I'm gonna be fine when I retire.
Yeah.
Like, you're free to wait. You're free to work towards it. There's no problem with working towards something or having a dream. But
Mhm.
in the meantime, did you live enough? That's the
Yeah.
question I have. Because my concept of being present is like, of course, being present is your entire life. You're gonna be present unless you're living less. And each time you're thinking about something else, like past or future,
Mhm.
thinking it's a nice thing to do when you have to do it, but it reduces your experience of time. As you're thinking about the past, whatever, yesterday, yes, you might find interesting insights. It might be useful for you. I'm not saying that, but will you
Mhm.
remember tomorrow what happened today, what you were doing exactly in this moment? That's the
Correct.
question.
Absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of one very simple incident, but which left a deep impact on me. It was, I was on a flight from Hyderabad to New Delhi. I was traveling from Hyderabad to New Delhi, and there was this co-passenger, a woman, sitting next to me, who did not utter even a single word throughout the 2 hour long journey. All she was doing was she was still. She was just sitting still. She was not even sleeping. She was just sitting still. I could see the kind of happiness on her face that really drew me into observing her even further. I mean, I really wanted to talk to her, but at the same time, I did not want to disturb her from that stillness. It was
Mhm.
so beautiful to watch. Something in me uh, was crying out for the sense of intimacy and depth that I was getting from her. What exactly was she doing? I now realize she was just enjoying the present. She was only so deeply immersed in the present moment. I think that is where I was a little more inspired when I was writing my book, and I was writing about the concept of Wu Wei, which is a Taoist concept. I'll just read it out. This is a small two-liner from my book. Accept your present moment, experience for what it is. This doesn't mean that you have to like it or approve of it. It just means that you are not going to spend your energy struggling against it. It is a conscious decision to conserve your energy for things you have the power to change.
Love this one.
So I think, Ozan, that we have spoken enough about how we are wasting time being busy. Constant busyness is actually a constant form of alertness that we are, that pushes us into a prolonged state of fight and flight. Our adrenaline is constantly oozing out of the body. The dopamine is always on the in the rush, and this exhausts us. It exhausts us. It exhausts our immune system. It creates conditions for stress that can disrupt all our bodily functions or the metabolism, the natural sleep cycle, digestion, cognitive function, everything. But in the end, what is time? Time is, in the end, a perishable commodity. It's going to end one day for all of us. Till then, it is only a precious resource. It is something that can work for us or work against us. It all is dependent on how we use it. Either we use it or we lose it.
Yes.
I would like you to elaborate a little more on how you manage your time on a day to day basis. Because I'm aware you're working, I'm aware you're writing a book, I'm aware you're also enjoying life. You ensure that you take out time for your loved ones. I think that is something that I would want to hear from you, how you gracefully manage to do all of this with a smile on your face. And you're also recording with me at this hour. I mean, commendable. How do you do that?
Well, yeah, I have become the master of multitasking recently. I won't deny that, but it was painful in the beginning. Definitely
But
painful in the
don't
beginning.
don't use that word. I hate that word, multitasking.
But I do that all the time. But okay, I'm not doing it like at the same time I'm doing two things.
Mhm.
But this week I have worked in, I can't count how many projects I've worked in. So in that way. But what I've learned over the years, whatever you do, whatever you have, you basically completely focus on it for the time. Like right now, I am completely here, focused, talking to you right now. You got my full attention, not 50%, not 60%. And this is something actually most people are suffering from. They're doing something, but at the same time, they're thinking about something else. They're having a dinner with their date, or they're having a dinner with their family. At the same time, they're thinking about the work or thinking about what will happen tomorrow. And this actually is what brings the pain. And this is what I said painful. So whatever you do, you give your full attention to it. How do you give your full attention to it? By basically just focusing on your senses, because that's how you interact with the world. Your senses on, and you move your body, you talk. Basically, you are present. This is being present. As sometimes you think about the past or future or whatever it is, you're planning something, you're regretting something about the past, or you're just remembering some good memory, it doesn't matter. That means you're not giving your full attention to the present moment. This is one of the things I was doing before. I was either planning something or thinking about something in the past, and I can't focus on whatever I have right now. And
Mhm.
that basically destroys the quality of the present moment.
Right.
How you can realize this is like today, do you remember exactly what you were doing at 4 p.m. 4 days ago? Without
Well,
checking your calendar, you were not fully present.
yes, I think so because I think I'll just make a guess because that is something that I've memorized as a part of my routine. That I'm not sure still, but maybe I was just taking a nap after lunch, 4 p.m.
Okay, maybe you won't remember the while you were taking a nap. I don't know, unless the dream was
Or
perfect.
maybe I was on a call, on an interview call. I'm not sure because these days I'm giving interviews. So yeah, that could be a possibility.
But when you think about it's a good practice now. When you think about, let's say, your last week,
Hmm.
I ask you last week what happened. The first things that are coming on is something is coming to your mind, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why are those things coming to your mind first when I say last week? Because these were the things that are precious. These were the things you were present more.
Hmm.
More you are present, more you experience life. So of course, more you will remember it because actually you were paying attention to what's going on around you.
Hmm.
Not like the moments which, yeah, you were watching TV at the same time you were texting to your phone at the same
Hmm.
time eating something.
Yes, that's what
Whereas
I call multitasking.
the multitasking, I'm meaning is different. Multitasking is like today I took care of 5 projects all at different time. But at the same time, I was not thinking about the other one while I was focusing on one. I'm not thinking about all the problems I'm gonna have in the work tomorrow while talking to you right now.
Mhm.
Just came to my mind because I talked about it. But anyway, that's not the point. You got my point.
Okay, got you. But yes, thanks for putting me on the spot in the arena because no, I'm just kidding. But
You're still
honestly, as
thinking
I
about what you were doing at 4 p.m. 4 days ago.
no, I was not thinking about that, but I was actually stuck on that question because yes, I need to check my calendar what I was doing and was I really present there. But yes, that was a really well explained point, and I believe uh, that this is where I struggle the most. And this is all. This is where almost all of us struggle the most because we, as I said earlier, we all sometimes bite off more than we can chew. That is one very important issue that we all face. On some days, even when we are working on the things that we are really passionate about, it may just feel like you have too much on your plate to digest, and apparently your to-do list never seems to be ending. And even things that once sounded fun to you have lost all their charm. They have become only a weight which is crushing you. The distance between where you are and where you need to be seems vast in such moments because the external circumstances are so challenging that you don't know how far will you be able to manage, how far can you go on. It Everything seems so daunting, so overwhelming, so much that you almost want to give up. And that is where I believe that in that state of exhaustion, in that state when you are absolutely cold, sleep deprived, and close to your breaking point, it becomes very difficult to have a long term vision. It becomes very difficult if you say that that you have to deal with it for 5 more days, for example, if I'm close to my breaking point and I know that this is going to not end anytime soon, I might just give up right now. That is why I think it is important to break the things that you have in your hand. Maybe you cannot imagine yourself coping up for 5 more days, but maybe you can imagine yourself getting to the next day or the next hour at least. Keeping your world small can help you gain a better clarity on things, and it can help you get more focused with a renewed sense of purpose, because you can't do everything at once. We all know that we can't do everything at once. Then why do we have to think about everything at once? If you only focus on the next item on your list, no matter how long your list is, you can still sail through. That for me is time management. For me, personally, I believe this is how I can manage my time, by taking one day at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. And I'm still far from really doing this and applying this in my life. But yes, I determined to do it. Because ultimately, the world is a chaotic place. You will always have uh, horns blaring, traffic lights blinking, engines are always roaring, and we are always in a hurry. We are
But the
always in a
world is what you see it to be, isn't it? Like at the
uh,
same time, don't you ever just sit down and watch a duck, like duck that's going by a small river? It's not chaotic when you watch a
you
duck.
do
Well, of course,
you
yeah.
don't you don't get such beautiful sceneries here, Ozan. You are living in a beautiful country.
Okay, that's completely right. And of course, some people living in a war,
Mhm.
like they can't do anything. They are in chaos. This is the reality of life. But what I'm trying to say is that my point is that this is also relative. It's
Mhm.
not absolute.
Mhm.
And it's what we
Yes,
perceive it to be. Of course, your environment has a huge effect on it that nobody can say otherwise.
true. But sometimes the vehicle that we are on is always speeding, and you may not be always driving it or controlling it. You are forced to ride on a speeding vehicle. There are times like that. The problem with all of us is that we want to tick mark the items of our to-do list so that we can justify the leisure that we have now. Yeah, I mean, justify the resting time that we have achieved.
When are you gonna enjoy that leisure? What you're talking about?
Exactly, that's the point. This rush and this speeding will always continue to happen until you take a deliberate step to stop it.
Exactly. And that's what I also talk about. Basically, humans are kind of, what do you call it? It's like a balloon. It keeps inflating.
Mhm.
You can't stop humans. We are completely absorbing and we want to absorb more. We
Yeah,
always want more.
and
If
just
we
like
reach
a
something, we want
yeah,
more.
and just like a balloon, if the pressure inside gets too much to handle, it will burst. We are going to
Exactly.
burst one day, and this will bring the vehicle to a screeching halt. The vehicle that I'm traveling in. This screeching halt, in that moment when I am stopping, forcefully stopping, it is that moment that we are reminded that all we have is this. All we can do is live in this moment like it is the last moment. Because who knows? Let's face it, it might be.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine, like, if you receive news, like you have like 1 week to live, what do? Are you following your to-do list again?
Absolutely no.
What do? You enjoy what you have. You enjoy life. You do the things that you didn't do before. Why? Because you want to experience life at its fullest.
Mhm. Yes, right. And the struggle for me personally is not when I am working, because I very well know by now how to manage my work, how much to work, The struggle for me is more on the lines that you have written in your book. You mind if I read out some?
Please.
So I could really relate to this part where you said, when we think about the past, we are actually selecting a memory from our mind and replaying it. When we think of the future, we are only using the data we collected from the past to project it into a later present moment that literally does not exist yet. The past does not exist. It might have existed once as the present moment, but it was only momentary. When there's a memory that gives you light and warms your heart, embrace it. When there is a negative memory, also embrace it to learn from it, not to make a similar mistake in the future. But that is it. That is the most important line. That is it. We must learn to tap into the past only when it is needed and then move on. Because every time we think about the past, our presence actually decreases. We simply live less. And the comparison that you made of the three time zones, past, future, and present, that's lovely. You say that past gives you wisdom. Treat your past as your wisdom. Treat your future as your intention. And treat your present as life. This is the part that I really dog-eared this in the book, and very well said.
Yeah, it sounds better actually when you read it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. And if you realize, actually, the whole book starts with the chapter 2 is called "You Are Here," and there is a reason why I call it "You Are Here." I wanted to start specifically with that because we generally focus so much on where we want to be, what we want to do, that we disregard where we are currently. And as you said, sometimes it's chaotic. You are in a car that's so fast, you can't stop it, but you can be in that car still. So unless you embrace where you are right now and live it fully, not avoid it by thinking about something else, but live it fully, then you can actually work on improving your present moment, because your life won't change. Your self-growth, what we are talking about, everything, it's not like one finger snap and you're in a different place. No, you work on what we have right now in this moment. And why do you do that? You have to be present. You have to focus on what you have. You have to focus on your surroundings. Then you can naturally improve it, because you want to improve your surroundings all the time and you want to improve yourself all the time. Only if you accept it and decide to live in it.
Sure.
So I think we are actually slightly over time.
But I really enjoyed today's session, and I did not realize the time passing because probably I was too engrossed in the present.
You didn't check. Did you check the time, or did you?
I didn't. Honestly, I didn't.
How long am I gonna stop? It's not like that. Because you focus on the conversation. That's it.
I think it's never like that when especially when we are recording, because we are so passionate about the books that we have written, maybe, or maybe the conversation just happens to flow, and it's always lovely chatting with you.
Always lovely. So I want to actually finish with a quotation from actually one of my idols, Eckhart Tolle.
Okay, sure.
So, to be identified with your mind is to be trapped in time, the compulsion to live almost exclusively through memory and anticipation. This creates an endless preoccupation of past and future, and an unwillingness to honor and acknowledge the present moment and allow it to be. The compulsion arises because the past gives you an identity, and future holds the promise of salvation, of fulfillment in whatever form. Both are illusions.
Wonderful. I think
Lovely, isn't it?
perfect summary to the entire episode.
Yes. Thank you very much, Anna. It was a very lovely conversation, and I can't wait to meet you again. And I promise to do it in a shorter time this time.
Yes, I promise that too. Pleasure talking to you, Ozan, as always. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you.
lovely day.
You too.
Bye bye.